In part 1, we built the core of the system of this financial tracking and simulation tool, where each sheet represents a month, each column represents a certain day in that month, and each row represents a certain income or expense category. We also added some basic calculations, some basic formula, just to make your life easier when using it. And in this episode, we are going to add the finishing touches, some more automation, some more colors, some more formulas to help you on a day-to-day basis. I'm also going to provide, using some random data, an overview of how I use it on a day-to-day basis. So let's jump right into the screen sharing mode. I'll see you there. Alright, this is part 2. This is where we left off. As usual, let's start with some general housekeeping. Let's select all of the fields where we are working with numbers. You have to go all the way till the very end and up until down into the balance row, and we change the format of these cells to numbers. Now here you can make a decision, you can actually use financial details, but for simplicity I'm just going to use numbers. And one more simplification, I'm going to hide the decimals. So just for the sake of simplicity, we are going to use a very straightforward way of representing numbers. Okay, this is step number 1. Number 2, as promised, we are going to use these additional cells for each category. So let's do that. Here we are going to see the sum of all of our income regardless when they arrive. So again, let's do it. It's currently 0. That's all good, all fine. Next one, same approach. The sum of all of the housing costs that will happen in that particular month. Similarly, the entire month is selected for our car category. Telecom, same here. The entire telecom category, and yes, just always hit enter at the very end. Family, let's do the same. Subscriptions, okay, and last but not least, banking fees and other items. And done. Let me pause here for a moment, because you might be thinking that, hey, my life circumstances are completely different from yours, so these categories do not really apply to me. And that's all right, that's fine. This is the power of a spreadsheet, that you can change your main categories, you can freely change your subcategories, and you can delete and add. These templates is going to still work. So after this is clarified, let's play some scenarios, and I'm going to show you how I use this tool. Right, so for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to use any currency, I'm just going to add numbers. These numbers may be unrealistic, or you can think of them as like a non-existing currency in the world. Even the ratios might be off. This is just to demonstrate the power of this spreadsheet. So let's do this. Let's imagine I have my main income stream, which always arrives, I don't know, on the third day of the month. So let's add it like, again, just a random number, let's say 5,500. Okay, and I know I'm going to get some more income later on the line, maybe on the 15th. So I'm going to get like, I don't know, a little bit more. One important thing that I always do is I always add the carried over balance from last month. So let's say I managed to save 800 whatever in the last month. So that's also a carried over balance with me. I usually, by the way, color this cell a little bit differently so that visually I can always see that, okay, this is something I need to add here, something important. Okay, so this is all my income. You can see the summary here, a pretty nice number to start with. Okay, but the month begins. So I know already that I need to pay rent by the 5th. So let me do this on the 4th. I pay, I don't know, like 650. I know already that I usually fuel my car like 3 times a month. So I already know that my budget for that is like 300 whatever, and I usually fuel my car on Saturday mornings, so I can already do this. I do, let's say I add one more here. Let's do it the other way around. Let's say that every 10th day I'm going to fuel my car, so I'm just commuting, regular commute. I pretty much know how much fuel I'm going to consume. So let's do this. From last month I had some leftover, so I fuel my car like on the 6th of the month, and then I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I had one more 100. And from here I also say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this consumed all of my budget. By the way, at the end of the month I already know that, okay, I'm currently sitting at 6,575, but again, we haven't spent much just yet. So, but you can already play with it, and you can easily move these numbers around. So if you don't fuel your car specifically on the 26th, that's all right. But you get the idea. Okay, there are some mandatory bills that I have to pay coming in every month. I know that I have to pay the internet always by the 5th. So let's say, I don't know, 45, random number. I need to pay, I don't know, my cell phone, another random number. So by the 8th, I'm regularly doing some big grocery shoppings on Saturdays also. So maybe I will say every Saturday I budget for, I don't know, 120. Yep. So this is how I plan. And roughly 120. Of course, if you are doing it for the very first time, for your first month, you won't have this. So maybe in the second month you are going to get this rough idea, and you can always look back. Okay. I need to travel. For example, besides commuting by car, I also have some public transport tickets that I need to buy, maybe a monthly ticket, so it's better to buy at the very beginning of the month. So let's say I allocate some money for that. You get the idea. Usually I get charged for a banking fee, again maybe on the 4th, so let's say this is also 25. And the story goes on, so I'm not going to fill every single cell here. But one more thing I want to show you is that how I track as the days go by in a month. So whenever I pay a bill, I actually highlight them in green. So I can already say that, let's say it's a Saturday 6 today. So let's say I already paid, of course, everything up until the 6th. So I just paid them green, and maybe I also paid this one. So this is how I know that there's no outstanding request from me any longer. And the last thing I would like to show you, which is also very important, and this sounds like a pain that you have to do it, or it's recommended for you to do it every day, is what I call here in line 34, this is very important, is what I call the red balance at the end of the day. So at the end of each day, I open up my mobile app and I check my account and I write the number in here, right there, so that I know that if there's any discrepancy, or maybe there's something which I didn't calculate with, then obviously the calculated balance and my red balance will be off, will be different. So again, you get the idea, but I would say, for the sake of simplicity, I checked on the first day, and obviously this is an imaginary scenario, but I kind of carried over 80 and I only paid for my travel and nothing else, so that is like 727, 10, 20, so that goes on, and I do it every single day. So let's say, again, quite unrealistic that you don't spend any money on a Tuesday, but it remains at 720, and you get the idea. Once I get my balance and I start spending at the end of each day, I type here in my red balance. This is just to counter check my spending habits. And this is where I would stop, because after this point you get the idea of how I'm using it. So please feel free to experiment with it, to play with it, and explore, add more. It can get more sophisticated. I have 2 more ideas, by the way, which I'm implementing right now in my own case. One idea is that what if you have multiple accounts? So this spreadsheet should cover the scenario where you have more than one bank account and maybe their balances are different. So that's one thing. Other thing which makes it a little bit more complex is multi-currency. So just imagine that you have to convert based on an exchange rate multiple currencies. So these are 2 scenarios which can make it really, really complex. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of this whole tutorial, I wanted to keep it very, very simple. I hope you also agree that it cannot be any simpler than this, and hopefully it will bring you some benefits. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.